When it came to the Rule 5 draft, you know the A's aren't rich, so they grabbed Mitch, hoping he could pitch. Yes, I just did that.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, kind of like Radio Shack, you know, we got questions, you got answers. Yeah, the burning question of the week. Finally, the polls are closed and we have the results. We'll share those with you in just a little bit. It's Locked On A's in another episode. How are you? I'm Wayne Coy, your host, longtime and mostly lifetime resident of the East Bay, Oakland native, and of course, a big A's fan, and radio dude for a long, long time too. And of course, your host here on Locked On A's, talking all things athletics on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And, you know, today is no exception. Coming to you from Las Vegas, where I currently live. And it's kind of interesting here from the 30,000 feet level, just watching what's going on with our baseball team. And there is plenty. I want to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. That's awesome when you do that. Of course, we want to keep you here and let you know when we're back with a new episode. So make sure that you subscribe and give us the thumbs up so we can share the channel. That's what it's all about. Grow, grow, grow. Well, listen, it was no secret. The A's were disappointed with the draft lottery, second year of that thing. And here you are, you got the worst record in all of baseball. So you would expect you'd get something. Well, they got the fourth pick overall in the 2024 draft after getting, the sixth pick last year. Yeah, it's like Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown when it comes to the A's. Or maybe it's just a little karma. You know, it goes around, comes around. Well, when it came to the Rule 5 draft, that was different. There was no lottery. The A's stunk to join up, so they got the first pick. And they selected right-handed pitcher Mitch Spence. Yeah, Mitch Spence from the Yankees, who has got a nice assortment of pitches. I think, again, kind of is par for the course for A's pitchers. It's all about location. Can he throw strikes? Something they'll work on. University of South Carolina, Aiken, as in Clay. Yeah, that's where he came from. Pitched in part of 4 seasons with the Yankees system. He missed all of 2020 because of the COVID shutdown. And according to David Force, the A's general manager, they're going to give him every single opportunity to join the rotation. And I think they kind of have to, right? Rule 5, the way that works is got to make the roster and got to stay there all year. And if he doesn't, then, of course, they have to offer him back to the Yankees for $50,000. So that was Rule 5. And as far as that goes, that was that. No more picks the rest of the draft. They took that first one. Then when the minor league phase of the draft came up, they just totally took a pass. Basically had their bags packed, ready to go. Got our guys, see ya. That's kind of how that worked. Well, you know who Scott Boras is, right? You hear his name quite a bit. He is probably the premier agent right now in baseball. Has a ton of, I would call them elite clients, people that are on his list. And he's got people that are young as well that he represents, including players on the A's. Well, he talked to John Shea of the Chronicle, and needless to say, he wasn't very happy with John Fisher and the rest of Major League Baseball. The quote, here's one of many. Remember, the commissioner's office on down, every owner approved this. This is what Major League Baseball is doing to one of its franchises. We have made one of the great Major League franchises an outlier. I'm not sure why they did it this way. I don't understand it. It hurts the game. He had more than that to say, because, you know, the A's have one more year left at the Coliseum, right? 2024. After that, lease expired. Where they're going to play, who knows? Talk, of course, is that they will play some of their games at Oracle, where the Giants play, that they would play some of their games in Las Vegas, where the Aviators play, the Las Vegas ballpark. Truth is, nobody really knows. So you've got 25, 26, 27, maybe 28, depending on how this construction would go in Vegas and if everything gets done. And right now it's moving at a snail's pace. So what about all of that? Well, pretty crappy, I think, for the players who really don't have a clue as to where they're going to be from year to year or even week to week or month to month, trying to figure out where your family's going to live. It's just got to be a mind blow, right? And certainly for an agent representing a player, you might look a little bit differently at the A's than you do the rest of Major League Baseball. Here's another Boras quote. Sports are personal. I think that John, meaning John Fisher, is taking a direction in this where he's put his personal tone on it. The reflection of that and the marketplaces, you have players not knowing who their fans are. They're not certain where they're going to be at any time. And it's really not good for baseball players. It's not in any way customary to any other franchise. My hope is that he will consider that in his thoughts and concur. Boras, as I said, does represent some of the A's. Paul Blackburn, most notably. Second baseman Zack Geloff, maybe even more notably. Zach, of course, is a future star, as is Shea Langoliers, another client, and J.J. Bleday, all represented by Scott Boras, plus a couple of prospects who could, well, with the A's, could be any minute now, right? But they are on track to at least make it to the big leagues in a couple of years, and they're represented by him as well. So big picture, how is that? Here's what Boras said. For the players that I have there, I think that it's very, very difficult to look at competitiveness, to look at a career with a franchise. See what I'm saying? To look at what commitment means day in and day out to playing ball. All those things are so different than what we know from the other 29 teams. Boom. That's a mic drop. And I'm not even a big Scott Boras guy, but I got to tell you, it hits home. So the A's are considering where they're going to play. The Coliseum, maybe, but that would mean a lease extension, and that would mean Mayor Sheng Tao maybe holding the A's feet to the fire as much as she can. Then there's Oracle for at least a portion of the home schedule, and you want to know why that's important? Because if they don't play at the Coliseum, they want that TV money, and the only way they're going to get it, and we're talking about, I think last year was like $67 million. They've got to keep their team in Northern California to be able to get that money. Regional Sports Network money is tied to a region. So they got to be in the region. $67 million in 2023. I hear even more in 24. Kind of doing the rhyming thing tonight, if you haven't noticed that. All right, so anyway, that's why Major League Baseball, of course, is including Oracle Park in the conversations. Now, I don't know how much of a say the Giants have. I can just tell you this. First of all, they're the Giants. Secondly, would you want the A's hanging around for a year or two or three or four? Probably not. But that's a lot of money, so we'll have to see. Boras wanted to know why Major League Baseball approved the existence of a new franchise without an existing structure to go to, end quote. And then they asked him, John Shea asked him about the whole idea of the A's playing in a minor league stadium, because that's been the big thing with Las Vegas ballpark. It's like, well, wait a minute, you're going to have to change the lights, you're going to have to add clubhouses, and it's, by the way, open air, which means, you know, when it's 117 degrees outside, these are major league, not minor league baseball players that are now being asked to play in that kind of heat. How's that going to go? Quote, this is Major League Baseball. It's just so hard. I'm a Bay Area guy, and you see a team that's a nomad for 3 years, they don't even know where they're going. End quote. Scott Boras. Saying a lot there. Okay. My question to you here is, I guess I need to know, have you downloaded it yet? I'm talking about the FanDuel app, of course. Come on, it's football season. Have you downloaded the app yet? If you haven't, you've been thinking about it, now's the time to do it. First of all, it's very easy. Secondly, they got a deal for you that I just can't even believe. And I don't know how long it's going to be around. So take advantage. A $5 money line bet that you place on a team if you're a new customer and that team wins, well, for your $5 investment, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets from our buddies at FanDuel. And right now it's a great time. It's the thick of the NFL season, of course. Talk about making the football games more fun. You know, fantasy's fun, of course. So is betting with the FanDuel app. You can bet player props. You can bet overs, unders. Of course, the spread. That's all there for you. Again, a $5 bet, money line, new customers only. You win that thing, and you get $150 in bonus bets from FanDuel. They want you to enjoy yourself and the rest of the football season. And you know, FanDuel is, of course, a friend and companion and proud sponsor of the National Football League. Pretty sure on the companion thing. All right, question I got for you, number 2, is, are you ballin'?
Ownership has done everything it can to cause division between the team and the fan base.
Just go up and move to Vegas and blame the city of Oakland for all of their problems. It's just lies.
It kind of just feels like a slap in the face.
People are tired, the fans are tired of being battered and bruised.
Oakland is a city that has been counted out since the beginning. We talk about the social relevance, how Oakland represents and always shows up.
Oakland is about culture, it's about hip-hop, it's about resistance. Oakland has so much beautiful history of folks coming together to fight back. The reality is, folks don't know about the spirit of the town.
You know, everyone counts Oakland out, but Oakland is resilient. They think that they own baseball. They think that they own green and gold. But we were green and gold before they ever came here.
The Oakland fan base is electric. They have the drums, the signs, the flags, just the best group of people.
And them taking that away from Oakland, it made me say, nah, we gotta have baseball still in our city.
The next chapter for Oakland baseball is going to be a team that's going to care about restoring the legacy of what baseball can mean in the East Bay.
It's the town, baby. Oakland Ballers.
You coming, baby? Oakland Ballers. Okay.
Oakland is ready for a new baseball team. Oakland needs a new baseball team.
We're gonna have baseball here. We're not gonna let anyone else dictate of what we can and can't have here in Oakland.
So what they trying to steal from us, we still have back. Baseball in Oakland, baby. 2024, the battle of the Bay, the real battle, the battle of Oakland. If they want to leave, hey, it's the end of an era. But anytime something ends, something begins.
Low together, high forever. Long as we go together, we'll die whenever. Be your light, couldn't let the darkness try you ever. Truth in my word, you I lie to never.
Mr. Fab. Nobody puts it like he does. And I love Jorge there, who basically, I think, just heard the name for the first time, right? Ballers, huh? Okay. Yeah, the Oakland Ballers, part of the Pioneer League. We told you about that last week and love that video. Had to play that again. I'm hyped. Okay. Got a schedule, which is cool. And it's out now. And you can get it 96 games in the season for the Oakland Ballers, Independent Pioneer League. Somebody asked me the other day, knowing that I'd seen a few Pioneer League games, what's the level of play like? I would say high A. It's about there. Sometimes even better than that. Got some real cool twists, too, the way they play the game, but we'll get into that later. But check it out. Game times will be announced at a later date, but the dates are out. 96 games split into 2 halves. And remember, this is the first year that a California team has been in the Pioneer League. So how do they do that? Do they just have one team in California? No. We get a built-in rival, like right from the get-go, right from the jump. Don't know where they're going to play yet. That's going to be announced, but not till January. So we got to wait. In the meantime, 18 games against the Northern Colorado Owls. That TBA California team, we're going to play them 30 times, which is good. 12 games against the Rocky Mountain Vibes. 12 against the Idaho Falls Chuckers. Inside joke there. 12 games against the Boise Hawks. And it is Boise, by the way. Boise, not Boise. You want to know right away if somebody really knows all about that part of Idaho? Just say Boise and you give yourself up. It's Boise. Okay? And I've been to that stadium Pretty cool. The Hawks, 6 games against the Glacier Range Riders and 6 against the Great Falls Voyagers. That's the season. 12 games on the road. That's how they start. Then they come home, and the team's first game is May 21st in Kalispell, Montana. Not how do you spell Montana, Kalispell. And then after that, they come home, of course. June 4th, the opener at Laney College. Somebody finally got to play baseball there. And it's the Bees, not the A's, right? And they'll be playing, guess who? The yet-to-be-announced Northern California expansion team. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty pumped. I mean, I'd love the A's to stay. I still hope that there's some kind of, be at the hopium. I mean, I do. I hope somehow, some way. But nice to have the Ballers regardless. So if it's the only game in town, hey. If it's the preferred game in town, hey. If the A's come correct and decide somehow, some way to stay, stranger things have happened, I guess. I know the odds are not good, but if that happens, coexist, baby. That's what I'm saying. Okay, burning question of the week. We got that. The Twitter X poll. Results are in. And I don't know, maybe this is what you expected, but here's what I asked. I said, and I needed to know, after all you've endured, are you still an Athletics fan? Okay? Multiple choice, of course, because we like to keep it that way. Nice and simple. The choices were, of course, green and gold till I die. No, they're dead to me. Or, I don't know yet. I'm kind of watching, waiting to see. On the fence, right? Well, that was the big vote getter. And by the way, we had quite a turnout. Over 15,000 views and 944 votes. 48% say maybe. I'm watching. I'm waiting. I'm not ready to tell you yet. Let's see what happens. 36% said, no, they're dead to me. Done. I've heard people say they're done with baseball, period. And a lot of people saying the Giants were counting on us to head over there. Forget about it. Forget about it. And then the last one, which is, oh yeah, I'm green and gold till I die. 16%, extremely low. So if you put it all together, it's a combined 84% of the vote result that said they've been affected enough to at least tap the brakes a little bit as it relates to their A's fandom. Over a third say they are D-O-N-E, baby. Done. Done. Can you believe that? That's the kind of damage we're talking about here. 55 years. Unbelievable. But what about you? Let me ask you, where do you stand on this whole thing? Are you still a fan? Are you in the wait-and-see mode? Are you just done? Where are you at? We got a comment section down below on YouTube. Let us know there. And, of course, hit us up if you want, direct message, or just post it if you want on our X Twitter page, which is @LockedOnA's. You can do it there, too. But I'd love to know what you think. Where's your head? I know where mine is. It's inside a Oakland Ballers hat right now. I got mine before they sold out. Homie, don't play. All right, let's talk about some history, but not history. It's A's-tory. That's what we do. 1876 was the year. Oh, I remember it well. First annual meeting of the National League was held. The New York Mutuals, and the Philadelphia Athletics, the A's, the original A's, got kicked out. Can you believe that? They were incorrigible. They were bad boys, what you going to do? And the reason why they got kicked out is because they didn't want to play their final games in the West. They wanted to stay East. The league didn't like that they were pushing back. So that was that. William Holbert elected to succeed Morgan Bulkley as president. There'll be a test. Pay attention. 1941, Lefty Grove, you know that name. Probably the greatest pitcher ever for the A's. And I know there's another player who had more wins, but Eddie Plank, who also played for those Philadelphia A's, but even before Lefty Grove, well, he played 5 more years for the A's than Lefty did. So if you extrapolate, which is a fancy word for do the numbers, you're going to find that Lefty Grove statistically would have likely surpassed the number of wins that Eddie Plank had. Either way, homeboy was money, just a winning pitcher. He won 195 of his even 300 wins that he got in his career while as a member of the A's, which is cool. World Series, 29, 30, and 31. They won it the first 2 years, lost it the last year, okay? And, of course, he's in the Hall of Fame. Matter of fact, first ballot. Retired on this date in 1941. 5 years later, 1946, the vote results were announced. And you know Lefty was there, right? And then inducted in 1947, the following year. Lefty Grove announces his retirement on this date in A's history. It was 1989, Storm Davis, one of the reasons why the A's had such a great year, culminating, of course, in a victory against, who'd they play again? I forget. Was it Giants? Yeah, it was. Spanked that booty. Okay, Storm Davis was a big part of that. 19-game winner in 89. He went 19-7, actually. Very good season. Good enough to make him a very sought-after free agent. And, you know, sometimes you got to go get paid, right? He did. Royals signed him. Never really had another year like that year, though. But 19-game winner for the A's. It was on this date, 1989, when that happened. And on this date in 2001, the A's were in a bit of a jam. They needed a replacement for their closer, Jason Isringhausen. So what do? Do you look for another guy whose name is really hard to say? No, you don't. You go get the best free agent you can get, who isn't a free agent yet, but he will be after one more year. So you got to make a trade, knowing you might only have him for a year. Is it worth it? A's thought so. And now, with hindsight being 2020, you know we got over there. This is one of the better Billy Beane deals of all time. The A's give up third baseman Eric Hinsky and minor league pitcher Justin Miller. What do they get in return? 44 saves, an 11-4 record, Billy Koch, Captain Koch, who, by the way, during that incredible season, 2002, which was the only season he ever played in Oakland, they won 20 games in a row. Remember that? You saw Moneyball. How involved was Billy Koch in that? Put it this way. He either got a win or a save in 12 of those 20 games. Unbelievable. Billy Koch, 44 saves, certainly filling the role as closer for the A's. And that happened on this date in 2001. And finally, 2016 was the year, and it was this date, where, as far as I'm concerned, one of the greatest announcers to ever sit behind a microphone, Bill King, was inducted. Sadly, it was posthumously. It was after he had passed. But still, he was inducted and honored with the Ford C. Frick Award for, how do they say it? Meritorious. That's the word. That's the word you only use when talking about the Ford C. Frick Award. Meritorious service, that's what they call it. Meaning, heck of a career there, Bill King. Oh, and it was. Holy Toledo, it sure was. And so because of that, if you go to the Hall of Fame right now, get into the library, you can read all about Bill King and his great career. Listen to some of those awesome calls. And there were so many, not just with the A's, of course, but with the Raiders and the Warriors. He was the man. And if you ask Ken Korak, who wrote a book about him, the greatest announcer to ever live, sometimes it's hard to argue that. Sorry, Vin Scully. 2017 was the year that he finally got the honor. And in 2016, they announced that on this date. Way to go, Bill King. Well, we're celebrating one birthday today, and only one, and it's a big one. Maybe one of the greatest players to ever play in the green and gold. That would be Xavi, Eric Chavez, who only won 6 Gold Gloves in a row while playing for the A's, 1998 to 2010. Quite a career. 13 of his 17 big league seasons were with the Oakland A's. Manning the hot corner for teams that made the playoffs, 4 American League West titles, 5 playoff appearances between 2000 and 06. Hit 20 or more home runs in 7 straight seasons from 2000 to 06, and drove in 100 runs 4 different times. Baller, Yes, he was. Eric inducted into the A's Hall of Fame back in 2022. And certainly deserving. One of the greatest players to ever play for the A's, Shohei, celebrating his 46th birthday today. And speaking of today's A's quiz question, we'll leave you with this. In 2004, our birthday boy, Eric Chavez, did something that no other A's player has ever done. What did he do? In 2004, almost 20 years ago, hard to believe. Feels like it was just yesterday, right? Put your answer down in the comments. Let's see how smart you are, smarty pants. Or just send it to us on Twitter. You can put it there too, @LockedOnA's. Or if you're watching YouTube, like I said, get that comment section down below. Go ahead and use it. And on tomorrow's episode, we'll find out if you're right. Eric Chavez, 2004, what did he do that no A's player has done since then? Okay? I appreciate you hanging out here. I really do. It means a lot. Thank you for spending your time with us here at Locked On A's. Of course, your team every day. Oh, and by the way, did you know this? If you didn't get enough here, we've got a new network for you. 24 hours a day, 365 streaming network, and the first ever 24/7 sports streaming network. It is Locked On Sports Today. I'm going to send you over there as soon as this episode is done. Feel free to move along and check it all out. It's all the sports, all around the country, all the big stories. You never miss a beat with Locked On Sports Today. So go check it out if you can. Subscribe there on YouTube as well as this channel too. While you're doing that, give us the thumbs up so we can spread the channel to everybody who needs it. And Lord knows somebody needs it. There's somebody out there right now needs them a little Locked On A's. At least I feel that way. Hope you do too. And I hope you'll be with us when we get together again next time. Until then, I'm Wayne Coy, and you keep on swinging.
You are Locked On A's,